Hi, I'm Ranger Meg with Tennessee State Parks. Thanks for tuning into today's installment of our Backyard Botany video series, in which we discuss interesting information about some common everyday plants. Even though parks are closed right now, I hope these videos help to inspire you to get outside and explore nature in your own backyard. The plant we're looking at this week is a gorgeous little spring flower, the common blue violet. It's a lovely little bloom that can be found in moist areas such as partially shady areas in your yard or woodland edges or along the edges of stream banks. You might think from looking at their lovely purple-blue color that the name violet comes from the color violet, but actually it's the other way around. The name for the color violet comes from the name of the plant. So the name violet actually comes from its Latin name. The genus is Viola. The species name for this particular type, common blue violet, is Viola sororia. Kind of sounds like sorority, right? That's because it's from Latin for sister, sisterhood. That's because there can be a lot of variety in common blue violet. So not only do they bloom with this beautiful deep purple color, like what we see here, but you can also find the same species of plant blooming in a white variation, or even a white variation with dark purple stripes. That one's called the Confederate violet. There's also other species of violets that you can find in Tennessee, like the Canada violet or the yellow violet. These are actually different species that can be differentiated from the common blue violet by their stem. So if you look at the stem of common blue violet, you'll see that it's leafless. The Canada violet and the yellow violet can have leaves growing out from their stems. Common blue violets really are very common across North America. They're found widespread across the United States and Canada east of the Rocky Mountains. In fact, they're the state flower of a few U.S. states like Rhode Island and Illinois. They bloom for about 6 weeks in the spring, and they have this very special flower shape. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see here, but a violet has 5 petals. So it's going to have these 2 top petals here, these 2 lateral petals coming out to the side, and this one bottom petal right at the bottom. And that's the landing pad for the insects. If you look really close and we get down inside, you'll see on that bottom petal that white patch with those purple stripes. Those stripes are actually guidelines to get the insects in to where the nectar is back here in the back of the flower. You may also see that inside here is a little group of hairs. Those hairs serve a couple of purposes. They're to provide a place for the insect pollinators to have a place to hold on to when they're getting back there to try to get the nectar. They also help prevent too much water from getting back in the back of the flower where their nectar is, thus washing away the nectar or diluting it. So kind of some interesting things about the violet flower shape. Now, even though the common blue violet has this unique flower shape to encourage insect pollination, they don't actually require insects to pollinate them to produce seed. In fact, after common blue violets produce this first flush, this first showy spring bloom, they're going to produce a second set of flowers in the summer to early fall. But these flowers never even open up. They're a special kind of flower botanists called cleistogamous flowers. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Cleistogamous simply means that they stay closed. It actually means closed marriage. And these are self-pollinating flowers, so they don't require any sort of insect intervention. They can self-pollinate, and they'll actually produce the bulk of the common blue violet's plant's seeds. One of the reasons that common blue violets are in fact so common and widespread is that they have a ballistic seed dispersal mechanism. That means that their seed pods can pop open with some force and actually shoot the seeds out to spread them out. Pretty cool. Something else that's neat about seed dispersal for the common blue violet is that they'll actually use ants to move their seeds. How do they do that? Well, the seeds are covered with this coating that's really rich in fat, really rich in protein, so it's very enticing to the ants. What the ants will do is they'll come and they'll pick up the seeds and they'll carry them back to their ant hills, where they'll then feed the coating to their larvae. They just discard the seed that was inside the coating, effectively planting the violet plants in another location. So kind of a neat way that violets can spread in a partnership with ants. Now, as you can see here, violets can grow in clumps and large groups. This is because they form some thick underground stems called rhizomes. I've actually uncovered some of these rhizomes for you right here. And if you'll take a look, it's these thick, fleshy stems that are normally underground or under the leaf litter. So even though sometimes it may look like the leaves and the flower stems are coming from different plants, they're actually all connected underground by these rhizomes. The plants can actually reproduce vegetatively by the rhizomes, and they spread out by these rhizomes, and that partially accounts for how widespread and common and resilient they are, and why they are able to come back year after year. You see, common blue violets are perennial plants. Groups like these can actually persist in the same place for several years. Now, if you'll look at the leaves of the violets, you'll see that they're generally heart-shaped. For this reason, the violet has also been considered as a symbol of love. Someone might hand a little posy of violets to the special person that they were hoping to make their sweetheart. So, both these heart-shaped leaves and these beautiful blooms are edible for humans. And in fact, they're pretty nutritious. They're full of vitamin C. You can pick them and toss them into a salad. Some people actually take the blooms and candy them using a sugar syrup that then makes a beautiful little edible decoration for cakes and other confections. The Cherokee people actually use common blue violets medicinally to help treat colds. So, you know, if they're high in vitamin C, perhaps that's why that was a good cold treatment. They also provide important food for wildlife. Deer and rabbits, they might browse on the vegetation, but wild turkeys will scratch up the ground. They'll eat the rhizomes, they'll eat the vegetation, they'll eat the seeds. Fritillary caterpillars, that's the fritillary butterfly, their caterpillars will munch on the leaves while they're larvae before they spin their cocoons to become butterflies. So if you have some common blue violets in your yard, you could add the leaves and flowers to your next salad for a boost of vitamin C. Maybe you could pick some of these beautiful blue blooms and give to a special person that you love. Anyway, get outside, explore this and the other cool common plants that are out there in your own backyard.